First, what is Claude Code? Well, this is Anthropic's coding agent. You simply tell it what you want in plain English, and the agent will go and build a project, run the code, fix bugs, and do everything for you. You're not writing any code yourself. Think of Claude Code as a developer that you simply talk to. Now, there are basically two popular ways to run Claude Code. One is with the CLI tool. Now, a lot of you don't like looking at terminals, so a better alternative for the majority of people, especially if you're a non-developer or a vibe coder, is to use the Claude Desktop app. It's extremely user-friendly. You can see all of your projects on this little sidebar over here, and because it's embedded into the desktop app, you can easily jump between chat and co-work. In this video, we will be using the desktop app. Now, one of the major benefits of using the desktop app over the CLI tool is it's way easier to see all of your projects and all of your different sessions within a single view. For example, if you're using the CLI tool, what you would typically have to do is start a terminal session and then run Claude Code in that session. Now, if you ever wanted to run multiple Claude Code sessions within the same project, you would have to click on this little terminal view, start Claude again, and then you kind of have to jump and manage all these different sessions. And it gets even more complex if you want to run multiple Claude Code sessions spanning multiple different projects at the same time. With the desktop app, this is not the case. Within this very same view, I can see all of my different projects, and within each of these projects, I can view all of my Claude Code sessions. It makes it very easy to get Claude Code to work on multiple projects at the same time. Now, enough talk, let's actually have a look at setting all of this up. Setting up the Claude Desktop app is really simple. Simply go to this page, which I'll link to in the description of this video. Then all you have to do is download and install the Claude Desktop app for your operating system. Then I'll simply double click on the file that I just downloaded and go through the setup steps. After installing the desktop app, it will look something like this. If you've ever used the Claude website, you should be familiar with this interface. This is where we can have a normal conversation with the Claude models. Now, in order to use Claude Code, you will need a Claude subscription. So if you go down here, you do have to sign in with an account or create an account, which is free. And I think they do give you a little bit of free usage as well. But in order to use Claude Code, you really do need to upgrade to one of the paid plans. To do that, simply go to View All Plans. And from here, you can upgrade to the Pro plan or even one of the Max plans. If you're just starting out, simply go with the Pro plan. Now, once you've subscribed to one of those plans, what you can do is from the sidebar, go to this tab over here called Code, and now we can start using Claude Code. And I think you'll agree that this looks way more user-friendly than the terminal view. Now, don't worry if this all seems very intimidating to you still. My goal with this video is to show you how to use Claude Code effectively to build whatever you want. If you want to learn how to use coding agents effectively, then you might be interested in my Agentic Coding Masterclass. This teaches you all the fundamentals you need to know about using coding agents. This also includes a project that you can follow along with, where we build an entire SaaS application, which includes user authentication, payment integration, and even MCP servers so that other AI agents and assistants can use this app as well. And we just released a Claude Code course as well, and we're constantly adding new videos to this course. I'll leave a link to Agentic Labs in the description of this video. Now, before we build our very first project, I do recommend setting up our development environment. This is a step that a lot of people skip, and it's extremely valuable. The first thing we need to do is select our project folder. So down here, click on this folder name, then I'll just select a new folder on my machine, and now we can trust this workspace. This simply means that Claude Code will be allowed to make changes to this folder. Now what we can also do is change the mode by clicking on this button, and here we can switch Claude Code into planning mode, and in planning mode the agent will not be allowed to make any changes to the project. This is where we can have a discussion with the agent to flesh out our project idea. Or if we just want the agent to make changes, we can select Ask Permissions, which means that the agent will always ask our permission before making any changes to any files or running any commands. Or if we go with Accept Edits, the agent will be allowed to make changes to files, but it will still ask our permission to run certain commands. Or what we can also do is switch to Auto mode, which is the one I will use in this video. In auto mode, the agent will be allowed to make changes and even run commands, but the agent will try to assess if a command is potentially harmful and then only ask your permission for those specific commands. Then next to that, we've got this little button, which we can use to attach files, add folders, and even add connectors. We will have a look at those towards the end of this video. What we can also do is change the model down here. So we can select between Fable 5, Opus, Sonnet, or Haiku. Selecting the right model for your use case can always feel very overwhelming, so please don't stress. I created this slide to help you out, so feel free to snapshot it, and you can reference this in the future. Basically, Fable is the highest tier model they have, and it's also the most expensive, at $10 per 1 million tokens in, and $50 per 1 million tokens out. This is the most capable model, but it's also the most expensive. Then we've got Opus 4.8, which is about half of that cost of Fable, and this is basically the best model for coding tasks. Then we've got Sonnet, which is slightly cheaper than Opus, so it's got near Opus quality, and it's a lot faster and cheaper in most instances. And then we've got Haiku, which is way cheaper, but I honestly wouldn't really use Haiku for any important tasks. You can kind of see Opus as the default model that you should be using, and you can use Sonnet 5 for any sort of easy work like updating documentation or even reviewing and exploring code. Then next to the model selector, we also have this effort selector. Now, I recommend going with high effort even for coding tasks. With extra effort and max effort, the agent will spend a lot more time sort of reasoning through what it needs to do, but in most instances, that's just driving up costs unnecessarily, and you don't really see a quality difference. In fact, on max effort, I've seen the model produce worse output because it's kind of overthinking the task and overcomplicating things. And then we've got the Ultra Code. This is where the agent will create workflows and kick off multiple agents to run at the same time to try and build your project. I would recommend staying away from Ultra Code as it's a very expensive mode, and basically it's just a way for Anthropic to squeeze more money out of you, but I really wouldn't recommend using Ultra Code as your default option. So I'll set my effort to high. And now we can ask Claude to build our very first project. And before we build our first project, we also have to set up version control. This is really important, and this is something that I haven't really seen other creators cover. What we need to do is install Git and set up GitHub as well. Now, if you're not technical or you don't have a developer background, you might not know what Git or GitHub is, but basically it's a way for you to take a snapshot of where your project currently is. That way, if you ever break your app, you can always roll back to that specific checkpoint. And of course, you can take multiple checkpoints along the way and roll back to any of those checkpoints. GitHub will allow us to back up our code to a remote server. And don't worry, it's completely free, it's very popular, and it's just that if something had to happen to our machine, we won't lose our code. So all you have to do for this is go to github.com and create an account. As I mentioned, it's completely free. Then what we can do is go back to Claude Code, and thankfully we don't have to install anything ourselves. We can simply ask Claude to set up everything for us. So we can send a prompt like, please install and set up Git on my machine. Now, I'm not going to do this since I've already installed Git, but once Claude installed Git on your machine, all you have to do then is say, please set up and connect to GitHub from my machine. Again, I'm not going to run this command, but what Claude will do is install certain dependencies on your machine, and it will ask you just to click a link to authenticate your local machine with your remote GitHub repository. Claude is going to install certain dependencies on your machine, and it's going to walk you through the process of authenticating your GitHub account on your machine. It's really simple. And then once GitHub has been set up, what we can do is ask our agent to write our very first project. So I'll just say, make a tip calculator I can use in the browser. Let me type in the bill amount, choose a tip percentage, and split it across a number of people. Then show the total and how much each person owes. And let's press enter to send this prompt. What you'll notice in the left sidebar is that Claude just created a new folder over here, and this is the exact name of the folder that I used for this project. And what's nice about this is if you ever wanted to run multiple Claude Code sessions in the exact same project, all we have to do is click this little button over here. We can select the same project. Alright, so Claude actually just created this file, and if we click on this, we can see our tip calculator over here. So let's just enter an amount, and we can select the tip percentage, and everything just works, and it's split it between 4 people. Now we can ask Claude to make any changes to the project that we want, or if we're happy with the results, we can ask Claude to commit this to the GitHub repository. So let's say, please create a new GitHub repository and push our project. Claude will ask us if this repository should be private or public. With public repositories, you can actually share your projects with the world. So anyone with a link to that project will be able to actually view the contents of your project. Or if this is just a private project, so it's for my eyes only, I can just select private. And there we go. So Claude is also giving us this URL to GitHub. And if we open this, we can see this project on GitHub, and if we have a look at the contents, we've got that one HTML file. How cool is that? This means if we ever lose our project on our local machine, we can simply ask Claude to retrieve the project files from GitHub. This is a step that so many people skip in their tutorials, and I don't know why. This is so valuable. Claude Code running in the desktop app has a very cool superpower. It's got access to an integrated browser. This means it can open your app and test the app by itself. Check this out. Please use your browser to test the app. Also, see if you could improve the UI. So normally agents aren't able to see the results, right? They write code, and then you can kind of open the app and play with it yourself, and then you have to point out any bugs or any issues with the app. But because Claude has access to this little integrated browser, or this little preview window, it can now navigate the browser itself, take screenshots, and make sure that the app actually works. This is great for end-to-end testing. And by the way, I'm not typing anything, I'm doing absolutely nothing. This is the agent driving the app by itself. All right, I just created a brand new project. And for this project, I'm actually going to try out planning mode. So what we can do is go to modes, click on plan mode, or what you can also do is hold shift and press tab. And now we're in planning mode. Now in planning mode, the agent will not make any changes to the project. This is where it will kind of have a discussion with us to figure out what we want to build. And by the end of this, Claude will give us a detailed plan. So let's send a prompt like, I want to build a daily habit tracker that runs in the browser. I want to add my own habits, check them off each day, and see a streak counter for each one. I need to save my data so everything is still there when I refresh the page. Keep the design clean and minimal and give it a light and dark mode. Let's send this. Right, Claude is asking us a few clarifying questions, like should this be a single HTML file, which is the recommended option, or should it use a framework like React and Vite? By the way, if you don't know what to say, you can simply go with this other option and just tell the agent you choose. And the agent will make a decision on your behalf. Beyond checking off today, how much history do you want to see? Let's just go with this one over here. And check this out. So Claude just gave us this plan on the right hand side. So if we want, we can just like enlarge this and read through all the context. And if you're technical, you can also read through all the technical details as well. And if we want to make any changes to the plan, we can simply continue chatting to Claude. So we can click on revise, tell Claude what we want to change, and Claude will change the plan accordingly. Once we're happy with the plan, we can click on accept and auto mode. So now we're out of planning mode and back into auto mode. Right, Claude is busy building this project, and I want to show you one of the strengths of using Claude Code in the desktop. On the left-hand side, we can see all our different projects, right? So we've got demo 2, which is this project that Claude is currently working on. Let's say we wanted to go back to our tip calculator app. So this app is still cooking away. Claude just actually updated the UI design, and we can continue working and making changes to this project. In fact, if I ever wanted to run multiple sessions in this very same project, what I can do is click on this plus button. This will bring up this chat window, and this is already focusing at the same project folder. And let's just say something like, please describe this project, and this will create a second Claude Code session in that tip calculator project folder. So now we actually have multiple Claude Code sessions running within the same project. And of course, while we're working on the tip calculator, we can jump back to any of our other projects and continue working and editing those as well. I love being able to multitask on so many different projects at the same time. Now, as I mentioned before, Claude will actually open up its integrated browser and test the app on your behalf. If you were using the CLI tool, you would kind of have to install separate skills or MCP tools to get this to work. Right, while Claude is busy, let me just show you a few more very cool things. So we can close that window if we want. And what we can also do is, if we click on these three dots, we can enable artifacts, or we can click on files. And from here, we can see all the files in this current directory. Or if you ever wanted to jump back to that plan again, we can simply click on plan. And there was the plan that we created earlier. If you do want to see what's going on in the terminal, you can definitely do that as well. So we can click on this little terminal view, and then we've got a terminal over here. And if we wanted to open up the browser window again, we can simply click on that play button, and there's a little browser view. And by the way, Claude is actually testing the app in a mobile view at the moment, so it's ensuring that the app will look correct on mobile devices. And now Claude is saying that it completed all of this work. And what we can do is test the app ourselves as well, so we can try to add things. But let's say that we wanted to change a very specific element in this app. I don't want to call this habits, I want to call this something like habit forge as an example. What we could do is simply ask the agent to change the branding or the name from habits to whatever else. Or if we want to be more surgical on what we want to change, we can click on this select elements button, then highlight over this one, and that will add this specific element to the chat window. Then we can say, please change the name to habits forge. And Claude is now making that little edit, and now the site was rebranded to Habits Forge. Now if we're happy with the app, we can take a snapshot and push it to GitHub. Please create a repo for this project and push it. And by the way, you might be wondering, well, what if we've already created a GitHub repo? What should the prompt look like then? Thankfully, that is very simple. Let's go back to our browser tip calculator. So we made a few changes to this. We improved the UI. So what we can do, and actually, Claude Code just picked up that we already have a repository. That is why it's showing this button called Create PR. So really, all we have to do is click on this Create PR button. So this stands for Create Pull Request, by the way. And pull request might sound a little bit misleading, but really all it is, it's taking all the changes that we just created, and it's now creating a pull request in GitHub, which contains all of these new changes. And what we can do then is merge that pull request back into our main project. So working with Git and GitHub and pull requests can be a little bit technical, but it's really not that bad, as Claude Code Desktop is really handling all of that for us. But just know that Claude is saying that the pull request is ready for review and merge whenever you're ready. Now, just to kind of show you what that looks like on GitHub, if we go back to that repository that we created, we can see we now have one pull request. So we can just go to that tab, click on this link over here, and now we can see the changes that we just made. Now this is very much meant for developers to review the changes, and if they're happy with the results, they can merge these changes back into their main code base. Now if you're non-technical, that might seem very overwhelming. Don't even look at GitHub if you don't feel comfortable with this. Simply tell Claude, please can you merge the changes. And if we refresh the list of pull requests now, we will notice that pull request is now gone, and our main code branch now contains all of this new redesign changes. But honestly, keep it simple. Simply click on the Merge PR button. When Claude says it's ready to be merged, just tell Claude to merge it on your behalf. And let's just go back to the habit tracker, and we can see the habit tracker was also pushed to GitHub. And here we can see all the code as well. Another cool benefit of using Claude Code in the desktop app is that you have access to all the same connectors that you would get with Cowork and the normal chat tab. For example, if I click on this plus button and go to connectors, you can go to manage connectors or browse connectors. Let's actually start with browse. From here, we get a curated list of different connectors, which will connect Claude Code to third-party apps. And there are plenty, like Notion, Gmail, I mean, you name it. So what we can do is just go to any of these connectors and then connect it. So in this instance, I've actually connected Gmail to Claude Code. So this means I can set up a new rule, Something like, for this I'm actually going to use speech to text, which we can do by holding this button. Please can you add this rule. Whenever you complete a change, I need you to use the Gmail connector to send me an email containing a summary of what was changed. Alright, cool. Let's actually send this. Claude is saying it's trying to add it to some kind of config file, so I'm just going to stop it and say no. This should only apply to this project. Update the claude.md file. And Claude will now actually create a claude.md file. And if you are confused on what these memory files actually do, it's simply a way for you to give very specific rules that Claude need to follow in each of these Claude Code sessions. And as a reminder, I've got a complete lesson just on agent memory within my agentic coding masterclass. Alright, cool. So what Claude did is it now created this memory file. So if I go to Files, we can see we now have this claude.md file in the project, and in this file there's a rule that tells the agent to send emails to this email address. Now, if we want to send emails to a different address, we can just ask Claude to update this rule. This means if we start a new session, let's try this. Let's say, please change the branding of the app to Claude Habits, as an example. And if I have a look at my Gmail inbox, I did receive an email from Claude. So that way I can get notified whenever these changes complete. Now, there's so much more we can go over, but there's simply not enough time. So I'll just give you a rapid fire of a bunch of very cool features that you should be aware of. Firstly is slash commands. When you enter front slash, you can access all of these different slash commands. So you can do things like schedule a Claude Code session to run on an interval or at a set time. We can also install skills by clicking on this plus button again. Let's go to manage plugins. Here we can go to skills, and here you've got a list of curated skills from Anthropic. And all you have to do to use a skill is to install it. Another feature you might want to set up as well is remote access or remote control. To set that up, you can simply go to settings, Claude Code, enable remote control by default. This means you'll be able to step away from your PC and continue using your Claude Code sessions on your mobile phone. Now, there's just so much more that we can cover, so please let me know down in the comments if you've got any questions or if you would like me to create more videos on Claude Code and Claude Code Desktop in the future. If you found this video useful, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more agentic coding tutorials. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.